The way I love myself.
Alright. So the way I'm doing this right now is, there's way too many texts, way too many slides, so I'm going to run over that. If you want to, I can give you all the slides, pretty much all of them. Also. Remind me about it. Please send me an email.
This is the last class though.
Yeah, but this is a review, adding a little bit of sprinkles on what we have done before. A little bit. So I can actually say, hey, we had this in class and it's relevant for the exam.
Yes, sir.
Huh? And you will see this, if you do the readings, the assigned readings for the last sessions, you will see this. Today, and particularly the Kaplan chapter, it's a reader. It puts everything into perspective. It makes it almost whole. Yeah? So, what I want to do is, I want to focus on a few things. I want to run a little bit through retail. I open up this discussion today, this lecture, in market ideas, demand and supply. So what I want to do is I want to connect, or try to connect those dots a little bit. How does this impact retail? Trade areas. We talked about market. All right. Retail market analysis must understand the real estate. But that's one important thing. If I look at this, real estate product, and we're going to talk about retail businesses and consumers. And we did this a little bit. Yeah? So, we heard twice with guest speakers, retail is dead. But I still present you retail because it's a property type you can still manage. Yeah? So what we're going to do is now we're going to take a look at real estate product. We talk about already about locations. We're going to repeat a little bit the typology of shopping centers, but also talk about the non-physical context of retail. Huh? I can skip that almost, but that bold quote: a shopping center cannot generate purchasing power. The shelf of potato chips in your supermarket is not generating purchasing power. You, the person in front of the shelf, has the purchasing power. And based on your wallet, you're going to pick the 99-cent or the $5 chip back. Yeah? Very important to remember. That means the product mix I put on the shelf determines also my potential customers to come and buy. The dollar store is different than the Costco. Yeah? Or the high-end butcher when you keep going with the steaks. Yeah? So, only attracts customers away from existing stores within or beyond the trade area. This is like my beach example. Yeah, again, small little facet, different look, trying to explain a little bit more fabric. So, if I go now and deal with this typology of shopping centers, the example we have in the readings is really highly structured based on the type and size, particularly on the size and the location. Yeah? Do I have an anchor or a magnet? We saw this as a demand utility function today. Magnet store, big rent. Far away from the magnet store, not so much rent. Yeah? A traditional concept, failing concept of a mall is 3 or 4 big magnets. A JCPenney or a Macy's. Not necessarily a Sears or something like that. And then I have I have tenant groups that complement that. In an extreme case, I have a really cool food court. Why? So my 6 hours shopping can be actually fun. I eat. Ever been to a restaurant at IKEA? Yeah? You ever considered actually just to run to IKEA because of the food rather than the shopping there? Oh, you don't have to love those meatballs, but they're good. Yeah? But again, different preferences, different utility function. Yeah? Me shopping differently than you. Me used to live in Finland and Sweden. Remind myself about studies abroad when I go to IKEA. Always fun. Huh? It's a lifestyle center, not a shopping, not a furniture store. Lifestyle center. Alright. Centers have different range and threshold based on their size, store mix, and offered goods. We did hear that today, didn't we? What's the theoretical concept we talked about today that drops those buzzwords? It's the central place theory. Huh? Size, store mix, offered goods. Threshold and range. Alright. There is a table in the readings. I literally wrote that table up. Yeah? Not referencing it because it's straight in the book with it. The chapter. They have different sizes based on location. Yeah? With different functions served, different service areas served. Yeah? Think about this. A neighborhood center is the mom and pop shop. Community, super community, it could be simple. Now we have an urban Walmart, we have a regular Walmart, we have a super Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart neighborhood market.
And an urban or neighborhood market. Yeah. Similar setup. Yeah. They have different sizes and different locations. They have different orders of goods, or at least maybe just one type of good instead of 6 or 7 in the product mix. Yeah. So I can push this up. Power center, outlet center, regional center, super regional mall. Not sure if I have it. I think I have it. No. Super regional mall. We had this example about the American Dream Mall in Miami, or close by. Yeah? What was it? $5 billion investment? Yeah? And a similar amount of general leasable area. Millions of square footage. Multiple magnets, hundreds of acres of parking dense urban areas. In the American Dream Mall, as an example, they put luxury hotels in there. Theme parks, 2. Huh? Because they're going to expand this and making sure that the attractiveness of that location will fit your preferences. So you're actually driving down 2 hours, or 90 minutes, depending on traffic, to go indoor skiing. Because you can't do that in Disney right now, I guess. Unless Frozen sings a song. Yeah? So how does this look like visually in like footprints or sketches? Neighborhood shopping center. Yeah? Community shopping center. If you look around here in Davie or in Plantation, a lot are like this. Yeah? And this is like your Sawgrass Mill. Sawgrass Mill is the 10th or 11th once it was built at that time. 10th or 11th largest in the US. It's not the largest. I have a family member who was lost there. Like here, nephew, drop you off, pick you up in 3 hours. WhatsApp helps with the Wi-Fi. He's like, I'm lost. I'm like, yeah, sure. Oh, when he was 18. Alright, fine. But you can see just in the pattern, those numbers reflect also the layout and the attractiveness on what you can do with the entertainment. Would I put a movie theater into a community shopping center? Probably not. But if I'm a regional shopping center or super regional, there might be enough purchasing power combining those trips. Or be close by and cannibalize that location. It works the same way. We have seen this like central place theory. Different sizes and different type of shopping center units. What about value oriented? Again, lifestyle centers, Whole Foods versus IKEA. I'm not going to IKEA not necessarily for the food, unless I really like meatballs or that little apple cake. But Whole Foods is a completely different experience in terms of shopping compared to your local Publix or the Walmart down the street. So without even buying anything, you just walk in there just for the fun of it. Do that on a Saturday afternoon. Saturday at 4 or 5 o'clock, Whole Foods, you're going to run over by people. This is like nuts. Huh? Well, the parking lot is miserable as well in terms of flooding, but it's okay. But think about this. There's a different flair, different ambience to those places now. I'm not just picking on 2 smaller sizes. This is one anchor in a smaller neighborhood shopping center. Next door is Hobby Lobby and Bath & Beyond. So think about this. So here again, in terms of town centers, if you scale this, what is the connection then what you build and put in place as retail versus community living? And it comes back into street design, the mall, is it just a hallway like we have in front of the classroom? Or is it now almost like an experience to walk through there? Different texture on the ground, different light, different ambience, passing the food court makes you a different flavor. We rehab the food court here on campus. For those who have seen the first version and now the current version, it's a change. I actually want to eat there. Just in the idea of I sit down and eat there. So keep this in mind. Retail alone is not just the product. That's your Amazon. Even the Amazon online web page is different. The product is different. Bought a book today. 5 different covers for the same book. Because of different editions in the years. Even that is now a part of retail in the algorithm. So, not fun. Okay, let's speed this up first. Yeah, trends. Shopping centers the trends within the shopping centers. We're not going to touch that. But that's a huge factor to deal with real estate picking up on retail shopping centers and rehab them because you won't have the chance right now to modernize them, depending on your tenants. Tenant mix is a win or a lose situation. Because you buy those guys in for multiple years. Just a fun fact. If we talk about trends, the Bank of America building, where next to the corner of the hospital we built here on campus. If I'm not mistaken, it has another 13 years on the lease. Well, they don't buy this, they don't build this thing and just have it for 2 years. They're making memorable locations. That's the reason why the hospital is not built out on that corner. It's too expensive to get rid of that tenant. And they keep paying their lease. So it's actually, I think, if I got this right, it's actually a university property with a Bank of America building that leases the ground for a certain period of time. An interesting concept in terms of management. And we're going through to do this with older generations of shopping malls and centers. At some point, you've got to rehab that stuff. Sawgrass Mills is not making money anymore. You've got to rehab that, particularly since you're part of the ownership. American Dream Mall as an example here again. Just think about how colossal that will be. I'm really looking forward to see that roundabout and the vegetation around it. But that's really going to be so much fun, and like Las Vegas style fountains. There's a few things we can skip. Yeah, I want to have more time on this. So, you're in the retail business, you have a product. What's your trade area? Who are the entrepreneurs here? You did movement of customers, you said. Who's selling goods? Nobody's selling goods here as an entrepreneur? What's your trade area if you sell, let's say, Subway sandwiches? Trade area.
Food services.
It's food services, but how many miles will your customer travel for a Subway sandwich?
5, probably. We'll say 5 miles, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the number, but I wouldn't be so surprised if it's actually less than 5 miles, because it's more convenient and the traffic stops. Yeah. So well, it depends. Well, it depends should be a hint that this is actually very vague to answer, but you can answer that in certain ways. You could argue concentric circles. It's 10 minutes drive time or 10 miles. Yeah? You can go and say, well, I'm here in terms of logistics, those are my consumers and customers. Yeah? You can say here in 15 minutes along a street network. Or I can use algorithms and say this is another area how I can define my trade area. Huh? It depends on the product and depends on your customers. I had the pleasure of meeting a guy a while ago who was also coming in as Shark Cage guest speaker, Feldman. Popcorn. He does popcorn. Yeah. Kid designed popcorn. Makes really good money with popcorn. He is #1 bestseller in popcorn in large packaging on Amazon. Produces in Broward County. Like big bags of popcorn. And you can talk for him for hours about the different types of popcorn and chemistry, the fat, all that. What's your trade area? Well, it depends on the popcorn. This guy sells nationwide, not in a local store. Has a few local stores, but has different concepts for both platforms. So, when we talk about trade area, we can argue that you have a primary trade area and a secondary. With online retail, you would actually have a larger secondary as well, depending on the product. Electronic books, e-books, don't need a bookstore for an e-book. You need a web page and a download, or a platform to download. iTunes, remember iTunes? No, actually you grew up with iTunes. I remember when iTunes came out as a new novel thing. New data format, new distribution, easier and all that. Versus here's a CD or a cassette tape. So keep that in mind. Finding the appropriate store mix, if you actually talk about retail, multiple retail units, is an art and a science. That makes you break or was it lose it or break it or win it or break it? Yeah, break it or break it. No. It depends. Same thing, what works in the main street in Atlanta doesn't work in Las Olas. Vice versa. Or in New York. You gotta have that regional feel, regional information. So, if you look at the idea of trade areas, then you can also take a look at again, where are the towns located in the region? Where are your major transportation networks? In this case here is actually a lake. And someone defined the boundary of the primary trade area as 100% competition market, and this is the proposed center. So, I can argue now that you might actually take away from this town a little bit, because they come and travel to you. You can take away a little bit from this town, because they come and travel from you. Those guys might not come, because it's too far. This is a complex version of our beach hoteling. Or, could be a Best Buy, could be an IKEA, could be anything with the understanding on what is my primary trade area for that region and how I delineate that. I'm not going into algorithms and consumer segmentations, but just the idea of, depending on what I do for retail and my product mix, I do have a different trade area. I actually have two, and I can describe them differently. Where customers of a business are described in spatial and aspatial ways. This is where they're located. This is where my customers live. And they come to me to buy stuff from me. Versus the service area is a company must prescribe how products are to be delivered to customers. As in online pharmacy using UPS and USPS. Amazon using USPS or their own service now. First is the retail box. The second is the online retailer. Who penetrates the market better? The second one. Because the internet makes it accessible anywhere I have internet connection. I can stand here and order books with my phone right now. You don't have to drive to the bookstore and ask if they have that one book available. Now, back in the days, they would actually look into a catalog if they don't have the computer open. So here's this area modeling I mentioned earlier, drive time models, half interaction models. So, to do this more in depth, I need to know all of these. And that's the reason why good marketing people with good product and consumer segmentation are paid the big bucks. And if you're doing real estate with retail, if you understand this, your customers, your future tenants will appreciate that. To understand what does it take to have a Home Depot as a customer, or a melting pot thing, yeah, it's different. It's different from a McDonald's. Huh? So, typical usual suspects, demographics in that area of interest, employment, economic key indicators, income, education, household types, age, household separation, single family parents, single parent families, yeah? Versus two people households versus multi-family households. What's the housing mix in that area? Home ownership versus renters. Yeah? So everything we started talking about at the beginning of the class, when we look at, say, the census data, population count, income, age distribution, matters here. Because I'm going to slice and dice my population into certain lifestyles, and I can argue that in certain lifestyles have certain expenditures in different patterns. Soccer moms is a tapestry lifestyle data, versus metro movers or young professionals, or if I say 65 plus, you will say old people. It's not the proper name for the population group, but yeah, you can separate that. You can say college student versus grad student versus young professional. Boom. 18 to 22, 22 till 50, and then young professional maybe 25 till 35. No? Because grad students, you can be 50 and be still in school. Alright, goes down to a little bit more. I mentioned it here, behavioral, spending, lifestyle data, tapestry data, because I am going to put this together. You've been laughing about it, but I think the consumer behavior in terms of, let's say, steak or meat, shopping for dinner is different between you in the class already and between your professors. I apologize if your dietary choices and options are not including steaks. Don't want to offend anyone who has a different lifestyle. Gonna make that point. Talk about so much about red meat right now that my blood pressure goes down. Alright, supply side or the prescriptive trade area. I can talk about structure, behavior and spending, and then again, it depends on my opinion, the assessment of the situation. Just because it looks like a good site doesn't have to be a good site. Rule of thumb, if there's bad gut feeling, walk away. You walk away from more bad deals because of the numbers are not adding up or you don't like it, than actually gold mines. Alright. Let's put this into perspective of office space. I know it's compressed. Paul, in that time frame, we're done in half an hour.
Okay.
Huh?
That's fine by me, man.
Yeah, come on, the visuals. Story. Office and industrial. The reason why I present office and industrial is because they are going through different life cycles and phases, like we did with urban form and those different dynamic models explaining how we changed over time. All right? You still with me? There's a lot of pain in the last row right now. It's like, oh. So, we talk about office, I mean examples on, hey, current projects in the region. Well, we didn't talk about the different type of office and how we differentiate office. Location, location, location? Sure. Yeah? Or you have different classifications of office space, A, B, and C. Some folks will write A, B, C, and D. But the idea is that you have first class, second class, and some class, A, B, C, of office space. Brand new, top-notch, expensive. CBD, 13th floor. Size and flexibility, and ownership, yeah, we can talk about it later. So, the important element here is, let's take a look at the type. I said we have brand new office space, Class A. In 5 to 10 years, it's not brand new anymore. 5 to 10 years ago, you had cool internet connection when you had DSL available, high-speed DSL. Nobody moves into an office space that has a phone checker with DSL connection. Again, depends where you're at. You might be in a suburban hub, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And DSL is good enough and fast enough to have your business connected to the internet. And it's maybe economically feasible for you because you're paying $30 instead of $150 for a connection. So there's some option for that. I put up here an age from A to C. Then I said the next blue one is close to downtown versus location distance from CBD. Remember that red line with the multiple subcenters? Bid rent curve, not just in one section, but in multiple little subcenters. So if you, depending on your lifestyle of your office, if you just open up a business, did you rent an office space for your business?
No.
No. Where was your office space?
I either had my location or it was my dorm room.
So you started your business in your dorm room. So what if you would probably end up now with 5 to 10 employees that would deal with all your business work on a daily basis? You need what? Office space. Or some workspace, some manufacturing, or whatever branch you have. So, would you go downtown Las Olas, or would you say maybe I find something down in Griffin here in Davie?
Griffin would be just fine.
Or even a side street of Griffin. Why? Because there might be an older neighborhood retail center, and there are 2 or 3 office spaces available, or actually retail you can cohabitate into office space. You see this with political campaigns sometimes. Political campaigns once in a while, they taking just that little square footage place, so you have a local office, and then after the campaign is done, that space goes dark and gets rented out for the next step. Or ice cream shop, or bike shop, or something like that. Or barber shop, whatever we can plug in. Okay, but the way when you grow with your office space, now you're moving in, you have 50 users, 50 persons in your company. So a little space you just had might not work anymore. Office space here in this classroom wouldn't work for 50 people. Too tight. Would work for one afternoon for training, but not on a regular basis. So what do? You move.
Yeah, big location.
Larger location, larger size, maybe a different location. So there's a certain cycle, business cycle or life cycle for your business involved. If you happen to have at the end 2,000 employees, what might you do?
Buy a warehouse.
Buy a warehouse or maybe build your own headquarters.
Yeah.
In terms of sizing and ownership here. So, but you also say, hey, I'm here in my dorm room. The dorm room is pretty much in the basement right now. Location to downtown. And size of location. So you have different trends for different classes. And what we have here is a term called filtering. Filtering up. Is depending on your life cycle of your business. Startup. More and more successful, more and more bigger. I might want to be closer to downtown. I might need the next big new office space. Yeah? I just experienced a process what we call filtering when it comes to office. Huh? So based on the life cycle of my company, I have to make choices how I deal with my office space and the management of such. And at some point, also maybe with prestige, I moved closer to downtown. Yeah? Because it's easier to walk across the street into the main headquarters of your bank to have a face-to-face conversation than to commute 3 hours from outside. At some time, that lunch, that urban form, that pattern, the routine pattern for doing your business changes. Yeah? You also might expand to the idea I'm closer to a golf course. If you're in Florida, what do you do? Golf. Huh? All right, so a very short idea here is the filtering through office space is actually describing the uptrend from cheaper location, older or far out from the distance, from let's say Class C over B into Class A office space, just to get the latest news. Like think about it, cars. Your Sweet 16 was an old car. Your college graduation is a brand new Mustang. Yeah? You're filtering up. And then once you're done with grad school, you buy a Mercedes. Thank you for buying German cars. Alright. Question here, are those trends real? Yes. You always have this, if you look at marketing for retail space, office space, you always have this Class A, Class B, location and size and age. Yeah? Could be an interesting property management concept, rehabbing old office spaces and re-up them. Alright. Location. I think we have that done. Amenities. There might be something about office space next to a gym. Huh? Enable your employees in a different way or close by to certain food and beverage options. Goes back to the mixed use example. Remember? We had those diamonds on there and all the examples of what will create synergies. Alright. Huge market sector. There are companies like CBRE or Colliers that are actually putting out market research for that and insights, what's going on. You can actually look at different absorption rates, which market is really thriving, how many square foot are available, and how many square foot per quarter will actually be absorbed as in occupied. Yeah? If I want to build office space, I would like to know how many folks are taking my office space away, how many users are going to be there, and how many sub-levels of tenants I have. Like ice cream. I would like to know how many gallons of ice cream I'm going to sell in that market. Huh? Same thing. And I go back to the location. Where would I place a office space? Retail industry, maybe I place office there. But depending on what kind of level, what kind of class of office space. Class A, certainly in the CBD, but why not in the subcenter, some smaller sizes of office space for, let's say, emerging companies, which brings us to the concept. Get this. Jump. About a year old now, so the prices have changed. Brings us back to the discussion of office flex. Yeah? As in, Paul does not need a lease for a whole year or every month. Paul needs every Thursday for 8 hours office space so he can meet with people in the conference room.
So these are flex offices?
Flex offices. So if you Google Miami or flex office buildings, you actually go in here. This is actually the access in Fort Lauderdale. That's a picture. That was in Fort Lauderdale. That's like open ground in the first floor. Yeah, you can see here iPad iconized with the emojis. You have a graffiti wall, you can work on stuff. You have different interactions in the first floor, but then you go second and third floor. You actually have different dedicated areas, different sizes of conference rooms, team offices, conference room fire, conference room spark, create, nicknames for that. This is a nap room. Not to underestimate the power nap function of 20 minutes, half an hour checking out flat. So Google made this very famous. They actually have those little cabin things. You lock that in, almost like you're flying first class, and you're completely isolated for a moment. Yeah. So yeah, why not a nap room? A yoga place. Why not to have a yoga? They actually have a kitchen here on the first floor, but why not to have a yoga studio? Do your yoga, take a shower, and you're back in the office if needed. So they actually changed this here on the third floor. They have different suites, different sizes, different accessibility. You can do this not necessarily by the hour, but half day, week, month. You can have your own space. You can have rotating space. Does it matter if I meet you guys 8 people in the same room every Thursday? No. Could be room A, B, C, D. Same amenities. Conference room, let's meet. Easy accessible, everyone can drive in, commute in, whatever, 3 o'clock, that address. Third floor, meeting rooms. Yeah? Like I'm going to a conference, you just see, walking by, you see on the screen, here, this is a meeting room, this is a schedule, who meets where. Or the airport. Your flight, this time, this gate. Yeah? Private office layout on the next floor, you can do it more and more. Same concept nowadays with co-living. Think about this, could be 1 unit of living, and you have 4 light blue bedrooms. And they share common space. Have them maybe internal bathroom or have a larger bathroom shared, whatever concept you do. Turns into how far away do you want to distance yourself from the prior dorm life into co-living space. But it's okay. Again, Metro cores from Lineberger, different location. They're going to be rehabbed now, because now, if you rehab this existing space, you can upgrade this. Now you create another Class A. You create another peak in that one multi-peak red line. Market trends. How do we estimate office space? Any idea? Well, it says it. Employment data, proxy percentages, interface with industries. Yeah, we're not going to test this
Next week.
next week. Yeah, but I want to give you the idea that I can actually go and say there are functions you can calculate that. Rule of thumb would be new office space demand would be what else is needed for new office employees times the square foot per worker. So wait a minute. If I give him 10 square foot for work versus 100 square foot for work, the demand for office space is different. Yeah? You literally could argue that here, if I want to say in the region we have 2,500 new employees coming, you could argue with a certain percentage and even with telecommute, yeah? This would be the square footage of space I would need for that region, combined between multiple projects. That's a rule of thumb. Paul is like, oh my God, do I need to build a new Excel spreadsheet? No, you don't. Yeah? So, but where would I put those guys? Yeah? If I add then telecommuting and different lifestyle examples, I would actually reduce that office space even more. Because I put it in suburbia, and I pay less for building it or for leasing it. Yeah? And that's the reason why we have then these different peaks in rent, because the market picks up on this. Okay. Have you ever thought about property management for industrial space?
Kind of large scale.
Well, you gotta have someone on site, gotta deal with the building, Gotta deal with building maintenance. Probably won't have 20 service calls a day because you don't have 20 tenants. Yeah? But it depends on the size, you might actually have multiple tenants. So what I want to do here is, for industrial space, the market areas are different. They have different reach, range of thresholds. There's a different service function I present. I'm storing goods for someone or for myself. I'm not selling them. In the long run, I sell them, but I could be a warehouse that just takes in and takes out, takes in, takes out. And I make my money with the movement of those goods and how long they're in my warehouse. Amazon does this for you. You ever looked at Amazon fulfillment? Like, you literally can send a big box of stuff you want to sell to Amazon warehousing. They put that on the shelf and they charge you by the cubic feet and other variables, but mainly by the cubic feet. Because it's big box. So that's a way to deal with that. They can make a deal with them and how they package this for you, how they send this out. So you can pretty much fulfillment is the buzzword here.
You don't have to worry about sending anything to anyone else.
The theory, no.
They'll do it for you.
If you write your book, they have a publishing service for you, print on demand.
They do.
Or you go to a publisher. You buy 1,000 books from a publisher. What do if you have 1,000 books from a publisher? You hope you have a big living room or a big garage because you have now boxes of books in your garage. Or you print on demand. The moment the angel press purchase, a few hours later, a machine starts printing, binding the book, puts it on a transporter belt. Someone packs it into an envelope or a box and ships it, codes it and ships it. Overnight or within 2 days prime shipping. And one children's book more sold, bang, thank you. Or a textbook or whatever. 0 shelf life for my book. Instant access within a typical delivery time frame promised by Amazon. I pay for that on demand. I might be actually cheaper if I buy 1,000 books from a publishing house and wait 2 or 3 weeks until they print it, and then ship it to you on your access. But I have inventory sitting there. As Paul remembers that from Shark Cage, it's always about inventory, 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 and subscription. So if you do a product and you have 1,000 pieces of this product and it costs you $5 to make this product, you have $5,000 inventory plus interest. And your $5,000 bound in storage you can't use for purchasing other stuff. You need to sell first before you actually can buy new materials to make new. So you're trapped. Industrial, I want to go through a bunch of factors. The idea here is that you say, wait a minute, I wrote my computer. Okay, let's do this like this. I can go in and say, in the traditional logistics thinking, I have distribution centers where I collect and facilitate my goods. Walmart is an example. All those trucks you can see delivering the goods for the super Walmart are somewhere at the warehouse meeting and assembling the needs currently in that one destination. If you need laundry detergent for that destination, they're going to put a few thousand bottles of laundry detergent on there. If it's auto parts, camping stuff, grills, put that on. Depending on what is located in the need, it comes down to inventory. Awesomeness of those computers nowadays, we know the moment you buy something at Walmart, that inventory goes -1. And if I pass my threshold in that case, I send you more grills, barbecue grills. Or I can anticipate the next, what is it, Labor Day? Labor Day weekend, big barbecue weekend. I can anticipate barbecue for Labor Day. I put this into my commercials and my advertisement and make sure you have like 200 units more than usual in this, on the location site, or very close by, just in time to be delivered. So it goes back here to freight modeling and logistics. It also goes here, if I talk about industrial space, not just warehousing. Automobile industry, Toyota in Indiana, or Mercedes-Benz, or in Daimler in Alabama, where state government is making huge incentives for large companies to come and build. The idea there is, come to us, bring employment, stable employment, therefore we will benefit from a region. We give you 10 years, no taxes, but we have, for 10 years, we have employment in that area. Old traditional way to bait people. All right, let's have some ideas.
That's what people were basically doing for like Amazon, right? When they were trying to find the next headquarters, they were giving them all these incentives.
Yeah, they pretty much did bidding war on how cool is my location versus the other ones. And then Amazon at the end said, thank you very much, we have our own ideas. But it's pretty much in an old school economic or regional development, you would have some envoy who would deal with this. And I was like, hey, come to us, build here with us. We are the region of agriculture, we are the region of steel industry. Would you go to Florida to do some steel works, like high-tech steel? No, you probably end up in Pittsburgh, because that's where high-tech steel is now done. So you gotta figure out where to go. I present here the research and development park as a mix, as a hybrid, because smaller communities pretty much ended up as in, we have about 200 acres available. Why don't we give that as a research park so we don't limit ourselves with what? Zoning. The policing powers, the constitutional powers to enforce your land uses through zoning law. And basically say, okay, fine, let's do this as a mix. Again, warehousing is not purchasing power. It's a transition zone. You gotta sell those car supplies somewhere that you store in that warehouse at that moment. So, small example. In the little state of Delaware, to give you an idea, this is a Dover NASCAR. Speedway. This is one of the Dover malls. And the reason why I present this example, because at the same level of zoom in, you guys might have an idea of how large a speedway is, and the parking lot. This is a Walmart regional distribution center. Speedway, distribution center. Every white blip here is a trailer.
Is a what?
It's a trailer truck.
Trucks?
It's a container.
Like those 18-wheeler trailer.
Huh?
Oh, it's a trailer. Okay.
So the way, see
Trailer,
that? These are different bays.
Where's this?
That's the city of Smyrna, town of Smyrna, Delaware, which is about 20 minutes north of Dover, Delaware. Little town, and I have some very fond memories in terms of working and friends. So, this is about 190 acres property they got. They built this extra road, they built like a moat here for noise control of the neighborhood. All of this, including this access road, all of this is a regional distribution center. This here is the fire station. They actually put an extra pump station on the site to have the maximum power water pressure they need to fully sprinkler this whole building. Again, scale-wise, these are the regular cars. These are the regular transporter trucks on you see next time on a parking lot when they come in with a semi-truck. This works like on the airport. There's not a big truck engine pulling this and backing this up. No, they're actually dropping this in the staging area, and then like the little tugger, like the guys who are pushing those the airplanes at the terminals, they have machines like this. Lift them up and do the logistics like at the terminal gate. Yeah? They changed the rules, safety rules for those trucks for backing up, because they do this beep, 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 beep sound. Operations are 24/7, so your neighbors don't like the beep, beep sound. So the trucking, Walmart trucking, put a switch in. When they come on site, they put the switch off the beep, beep to back this up. This is just in time or just about time delivery. If you show up half an hour too early at the gate here, this is the main gate for the trucks, you get, as a driver, you get penalties. They're down to minute windows nowadays. With GPS and road information, all that, they can tell you exactly when is your arrival time, you're on time or not. Wait time, wait at the rest stop. Don't wait on the facility because you're blocking capacity to move things around. This is about 1.1 million square foot. Looks like an airport terminal. Huh? It's huge. Huge issue in public when they announce Walmart is coming to town, because everyone thought this is Walmart shopping, not Walmart distribution. Fun fact, town manager is an old friend of mine, mentor. The biggest opposition was done by his mother-in-law, a certain age difference. Yeah? He's like, I love this woman to death, but she was the biggest pain during the planning period. They had hundreds of people showing up at town hall. They actually went to the high school gym to do public hearings, because 400 people showing up against this whole thing. Yeah? It's a consistent base of 900 employees working there. Shift, part-time, full-time. There are folks who are doing a regular job, they're taking off a Friday and working a 3 days night shift and making additional money with this. So Walmart coming to town is not necessarily a killer for your local industry. But I want to give you that example, Hybrid Park. This is all R&D. Here's now a brewery. This was a computer shop. There's a gold medal guy, that's a gym. There was a jewelry guy as well. And local fire department had some work here as well. Multi-purpose park, sold as such. And they had the ability, this is within a few minutes you're on State Route 1. State Route 13 and then, no, US 13 and then to State Route 1. So in Philly, 45 minutes. Bad traffic, a maximum an hour, to give you an idea. You can serve from this, the Washington, DC and Baltimore area as well if needed. There are two structures. You could fly in from the south, fly into Philadelphia. The two structures you see from can identify flying over Delaware. This is one, and a few seconds later you see this one. So to give you an idea, this is a little bit older map. This is what we're talking about. See that gap here? With this, they're serving all of that area here. Alright, warehouse logistics, again, they're different sizes. We're going to see more and more like these smaller ones. 250,000 is the feasible number right now. Building height is huge nowadays. Give you a visual example. We had this slide in the beginning. I think you lived down there. Angel, wasn't it you that said you lived down there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, I think my student said 6 weeks ago. So, 250,000 square foot, a little bit more than that, but they are building higher than the typical standard. Why? One more shelf on top. You can stack one more pallet on top with those extra feet.
Means what?
Means more space occupied in that. How does this look like from the inside? Give you an example. This is about a year ago. C'est moi. They're all now graduated. They actually, she's still in the program. Give you an idea. This is a 250,000 square foot bay.
What's the top?
Think about the height, 33 foot, 32 clear height. That's 32 feet. To give you an idea how this looked in space, and motion detectors on their lights. I thought this gives you an idea about the depth this car is walking. Maybe just, this is like the third take he wanted to do. But this is complete blank space, and they're filling this with customized for the needs of your consumer. One level, multiple levels. I took out the pictures for multi-shape shelf racks, automated, non-automated, for time purposes. But it's insane. If you have a chance to take a look at warehousing here in the region, you have a friend or someone working there, check it out. It's amazing. They add the base of 2,000 square foot office space to it. So you can be a full-blown logistics company with $250,000 office warehousing in the back. We have 2 major airports in the area, multiple interstates, destined for damages, fund damages. Yes, please.
So, are they trying to sell that whole thing as one distribution center, or are they trying to market that you can segment out little pieces of that warehouse?
Oh, they go by this description pretty much. Minimum is 25,000.
Okay.
Yeah, in this case 168 were available on that one flyer, but those are like 3 sections.
Oh, okay.
So they're adding up things. Alright. Again, logistics here. Different. Which one example is that?
These are different.
Those are different locations for the.
Something at hot dogs and hot dogs.
Yeah, I can't remember. I put that.
Oh wait, go back. Craft.
Craft foods. That was craft foods. Where they produce and where they distribute. Yeah, because Dover is craft foods too. Yeah, craft. So a different example here. If you're more in the production and warehousing, you produce differently. You allocate differently. Yeah. So this is where they actually locate and where they actually produce their elements. All right. Can't skip that one. Want to do 10, 15 more minutes on hotels? I promise you guys hotels are not on the exam.
They're not on the exam?
I'm pretty sure hotels are not on the exam.
No.
Does it say how do you differentiate hotels?
No, it says how do you differentiate shopping center?
Shopping
Obviously, it
Huh?
says, no hotel.
All right. Classes are not democracies, but you can make a decision on this.
That's not democracies, but.
I know I have 2 students who are interested in hotels. Yeah. So, but I also know this is the last. I also know this is the last session before the exam. Yeah. So I want to open this up. As in, are there any questions about the exam? Yeah.
It's
1 second.
The setup. I wrote this on the last paragraph on the study guide.
Yeah.
4 questions, 3 have to be answered, 2 each.
It's gonna be. I give you 2 questions you have to answer. Huh? 2 questions you have to answer. There's no choice. Question 1 and question 2 must be answered. And then I give you like an A and a B. You can pick A or B. Answer 1. Fun fact. I am grading the first 3 I will see. I will tell you that next week again. Huh? So, if you answer Q1, Q2, and A, I do that. If you answer Q1, Q2, and B, I'm giving you points for these 3 answers. if you happen to have a complete insane moment and you write Q1, Q2, A, and B, I'm going to give you points on A. 1, 2, and A. Because I'm not going to pick if option A or option B is better in scores. I just take the first one that comes in. Fun fact. I do this pattern with different amounts of questions. In most of my classes, I have exams like this. I had one student in my master's class in the midterm who wrote option A and option B. I don't care. I'm taking the first one that comes. Yeah? I did take a look at the B option as well, equal great points. Yeah? But I'm like, I give you an X amount of time in thinking you should add like 15 to 20 minutes for conceptualizing a question. Yeah? 20 minutes depending on your writing speed and thinking. Why are you writing 4 great answers? It takes time away from you guys. Yeah? So think about that. When you look at the questions, not all questions are equal, but most of them are in a 15 to 20 minute range. Yeah? I could combine 1 or 2 questions. But again, like we did in the midterm, think this structurally through. Don't go off on a tangent and blah, 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 blah. Yes, I present stories to support the idea of your thoughts. Think the structure in a precise way. Like we had in the midterm, we had the question about mixed use. What is mixed use? Present the concept and explain with examples. Something like that. Be structurally focused. I looked at the scores for the econ part, finance part versus the write-ups. There's no econ, no finance. So that's the reason why I give you the option to pick one. I don't know which question I will pick. I have no idea yet. Seriously. I was pretty confident that I get through all of this, but this tonight with you guys to actually put that study guide out earlier. So if you had the chance to look at a study guide, you could have made different notes and learning experiences. That all set at this time. Next week, to my knowledge, you meet here at 6 o'clock sharp.
Check. I'll check.
I think that's the same exam time because we didn't have anything, different weekdays. Conceptually, I give 2 hours for the exam.
Well, it's midterm weeks of the holiday.
And the setup, study guide is out, set up how I will ask those questions. You have seen this in the midterm, and we're doing this new change as in you have the 3rd answer you can pick between 2 offered questions. Any other questions? Yes, please.
What do you consider like a passing in your class, a C or a D?
Check the syllabus.
Syllabus undergraduate opens up to D level.
That's all I know.
But
Yeah?
they told me that not every class is the same, that it depends on the question.
Well,
So
it would be on his.
No, there's in the syllabus there is a point range in percentages that gives you an example. Let's say grade range I'm more comfortable is grad school. Let's say 70 points, 70% in grad school is a C. 69 is a fail. Undergrad opens up to 60 or something like
Yeah.
this, or 65.
60.
Yeah?
Depending on the course.
But I wouldn't go this way. Because I think this sets you up for failure. This gives you false security. I would go in and say, yeah, I have this at 65, fine, I want 90. Yeah? If you want to lowball,
90.
if you want to lowball your performances and don't reach out for the 100 and even a bonus point, yeah, as in I blow my professor out of the water and surprise him or her,
Hopefully.
I would go with the lowest A you can get. That's I think 90 for A minus. Everything else is,
Ridiculous.
you know, No, it won't go this way. I already lost my bonuses of real language because I used that word for the office box. I'm sorry about that. But I'll say this. I try to encourage you on your journey of knowledge. I have been very direct with one or two in the room about the use of cell phones or concentration, being participant here in the discussion. I want you to excel in my classes. I know 3 hours lecture sometimes can be completely paralyzing, not even falling asleep. This is like numb me down. My dentist experience is more happy than this. Huh? If I would do the hotel now and add actually residential to it, we were like, yeah, give me a root canal compared to this guy. Huh? So I would not go with what's the lowest bar. That's not something you have to be concerned about. That's something I have to be concerned about when I read your work with your N number, so I don't know who's who. And I'm looking at this and it's squeezing out every damn point I can find in the text you give me. So don't give me 2 sentences. Give me some thoughts, some structure with substance. If your thoughts are really critical and observant and you don't get that one buzzword right, but you give me the proper text to explain that, I give you that point you earned for that. You get the points you earn for passing my class. But give me the substance that I can give you points you earn for that. Otherwise, if you think about, hey, what's the minimum I need to get? Is it pass, fail? No. I want you to come back to my class and say, man, you've been a pain with your lectures. You've been a pain with your workload. I got a B+. Didn't expect a B+. I was way better than I expected. Or I got an A. Thank you. Best class I ever had. Not because of the lecture, but because of the grade. So that's it. I had myself a class or two in my life where I said, I'm struggling so bad with this. If I get a B to maintain my GPA for my scholarship, I'm going to be praising the Lord for the next 5 weeks every day. Really great, really crazy. I spent every Sunday for 16 weeks, every Sunday, 8 hours, handwritten statistics on a calculator. No computer submissions allowed because of cheating. Handwritten on squared paper. I'm still using squared paper. I passed that class with a B. Because I really, really needed to get this done. So don't set the bar too low. No, you're better than that. If you have challenges to learn for exams like this, more than happy to help you and give you hints how to sit down and structure your practice for that. If that would be the case. Again, for everyone, I didn't want to put you down.
No,
it's more about every time I grade a student's work that is barely at or below passing grade, I see that as me being your instructor, failing you in your education and your journey. Because at some point, there's a trade-off between what I can deliver to you and what you have done at home with readings and studies. At some point, it's me that did not deliver the right way to methods for your learning experience. Ask Dr. Foggy. When I have a moment where I crash and burn, because I have 2, 3, 4 people, or 50%, no, not this class, below passing, I go back and say what happened with my class, where I failed my students. Because you're a reflection of my teaching methods and style. So I put this bar high like this for you guys to learn from this level. That's the reason why there's certain compressed things. Yes, I intend to be done after this, not go further with another 15 slides. To give you actually time off and say, hey, go home, decompress, reflect, what did this guy say about the exam for next week and how can I prepare in a structured way? as in there's a legal section and there's a commercial and market dynamic section. Take a look what are in the readings. Take a look what we have done, particularly last week and this week. Seriously, if you have not done the readings, I would take a look at those. Those are fairly fast readings. Well, I've read that multiple times, but even if you're new to the topic, the Kaplan puts everything in market concepts and residential history view in one piece together. Geltner and Miller putting the market dynamics together. Some of the graphics today are from that chapter. So there are 3 big puzzle pieces that I hope give you a comprehensive learning experience. So you will do fine. And again, last midterm, the study guide and the questions in the exam were the same, with minor changes. So I'm not going to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to change all of this. I'm going to give you 10 questions now. There's a trade-off. With giving you 4 questions, 3 to answer, there's a trade-off. As in how many bullets can you place into the target that gives you full points. Versus I give you 5 questions to answer, so you might actually have a little bit more variance in that field. But I think the fact that I give you hints in the lecture and give you hints with the study guide should prepare you for doing quite well. I don't give easy A's. It's one thing. Never had that stereotype. Don't believe in extremely curving. Let's say it like this. If someone will do 50 points in an exam, that person deserves the 50 points. Because they earned those points. I'm not going to squeeze more than 50 out where I know 50 are. I'm not a lemonade stand and putting fake flavors in it. So that's that. Again, if you are challenged or struggling with your learning experience, please let me know. We can meet up. There's a thing we call office hours. More than happy to do that. If you're a professional working all day, I had office hours 6 till 8 p.m. on Tuesday night in a computer lab. 3 students showed up out of the 7 that wanted to be there. Just to make my work time or my knowledge more accessible for your learning experience. Okay? That said, learning experience. Every class I teach is a new learning experience for me, myself. Because I teach every time a different class, different composition. This time I had an advantage. I knew at least one person in the room. It's a pleasure to educate you guys. It's a privilege to educate. So, that said, I had fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you might consider other classes with us. Don't be strangers just because you finished one class. Office is down the hallway. For those who are graduating soon, there might be a master's program. Gotta put a retail pitch out there. Next week, similar like to the midterm, that's the reason why I give you that goodbye now. Next week, walking in, we started something. I go through my little painful statement about plagiarism, cheating, and please don't sit too close, etc. And there's probably not enough time to have a conversation after that because I don't want to disturb people while I'm working. Again, I take my job very serious in trying to educate you to the best possibilities. On that note, you saw the email about course evaluations.
Everyone please fill it out. We get extra credit if you do it. If everyone
Let me finish.
I'm stressing that.
It's a university-wide, college-wide evaluation system. And we are, as faculty, we are not going to see individual responses. Usually it's October 22nd is this year, I think the date. I will have access to an aggregated report to see a few numbers, how you rated your instructor, how you rated the class. There's a qualitative and a quantitative section. If you believe there are reasons to give positive or negative feedback, do that. I go back, sit down with the boss, and say, this was working great, this wasn't so great. I need to adjust my class. I need to change this one here. I might have to kick out all the finance part, or maybe have to increase more finance. Maybe something of this was boring for you guys. The legal stuff. So classes are not perfect. Classes evolve through the feedback of students in the classroom every session. There are certainly a few slides where I'm like, I might actually have to shorten the theory. At 9 o'clock, this is not working. Or switch up the schedule a little bit. So I hope I hit the spot most of the time for you guys. I hope I made a difference in your education. And that all said, have a wonderful, wonderful evening.